like I said, that the length or the duration that we are going to spend in this session is entirely dependent on how much of a question we can answer in this session. So before I proceed to what I have for us today, or like a brief recap that I have for us today, please, if there's anyone that has question about whatever it is you've learned at the course of the week, please, you can you can start asking your question. You can signify, unmute yourself and ask your question. Unmute yourself and ask your question. For this week, I think we've had about 18 videos so far, 18 content so far for this week. We started with our if function. We started with the if function, which is the logical function. Last week we stopped at some ifs, and then this week we started with if function and we ended with pivot chart. That is video number 50. 52, I mean, a pivot table. So, and this week, next week, by Monday, we are going to be starting with the next topic. We're going to be starting with the next topic. So if there's anyone that has any question right now, please, you can unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself. Oh, sorry. Okay. I'm coming. Okay. Yeah, I think everyone can unmute themselves now. So please unmute yourself and ask your question. Unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Please, who are we speaking with? Just state your name.
Yes, Lovina.
Oh, Lovina. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. Please, I have a little complaint.
Okay.
Please, for me, the videos are too much for the week.
They are too much to cover for the whole week. Hello, Lovina.
I don't know if I spend the time. Like, I don't know. Like, for me, it's too much. I'm way back. Like,
Do you have something? Okay, are you currently working now?
Honestly, I don't know.
Are you currently working
It's
now?
not as if the videos are difficult. No, they're not really difficult.
I get you.
They are
I
well
get
apprehended. Like comprehend. I'm actually comprehending them, understanding them very well.
you. Okay.
But then this thing,
The
the number
topics
of
that will
videos are
cover for a
much.
week
They are
is
much.
too
I
much.
don't know. I don't know about that. So.
Okay. I, you know what? I will need a second opinion about that from anyone. Is there anyone that feels like the content we are covering for a week is too much? Is there any other person that feels that way?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I also feel the same about it. Like me too, I'm way back. Like
Okay, that's
Same
Richard.
thing with me because
yeah,
I'm actually working.
Okay.
I only use the weekend to try to cover.
Okay.
Ah,
Okay. So I will tell you, though I'm still going to discuss that with the program coordinator and also the general manager. But there is a reason why we had to do it that way. The course is for the span of 3 months. As you guys know, it is for the span of 3 months. And So far, so good. By I think this week that we are about to start on Monday, that will be the third week in April or fourth week in May, I mean, per se. And we still have more, we still have at least SQL to cover. We also still have Microsoft Power BI to cover. And also, there's still going to be a guided project. And there is also going to be a capstone project for everyone. So we have to find a way to make sure that everyone is in the same pace. Normally, we are supposed to open the whole videos for everyone to cover. But we found out that if we do that, some people might be so complacent and be like, I can always go over it after anytime I wish. Whereas, for instance, if we are in a live session like this, someone might be asking a question about SQL while someone else that has not even moved beyond Excel might be trying to drag us back to Excel. And you know, this is a progressive something. We want everyone to move on the same pace so that we can carry out our project on the same pace and also certify you that, okay, you are competent enough, and then we can give you your certification. So that is the reason why we have to trip the course in the first instance. Yeah, because we always find out that we are all adults. We all have what we are doing. We are all working and all those stuff like that. So some people might not want to stay dedicated or stay committed to that. They will feel like, okay, I think anytime I have the time, I can just rush over all the videos, even skip through some of it. And I can assure you that every topic that is covered in this course is very, very important. There are things that you are going to come across in your everyday life. If you are working as a data analyst, if you are working as an ad hoc data analyst or a business analyst or a database manager, every topic, everything that I said, that I mentioned, that I covered in that course are the things that you are going to come to. They are everyday problems. They are likely things that comes up even during interviews. So that is why we don't want people to skip. We don't want people to be complacent or be lazy about it. If you are paying good money for something like this, if you are paying money at all, because if you are actually using our physical class, you will be paying as high as 150,000, 200,000. But this is coming at a discount, and we should not treat it just because it is coming as a discount or a scholarship for some. We have to treat every one of you guys equally. So that is the reason why we have to set the limit for some of those videos. And data analytics is not just a course that you just take briefly. As a matter of fact, it's not about trying to speak highly of a TerraSkill, but also our curriculum is very, very comprehensive. We've made research as to some of the topics that employers always bring up during interviews, and we have to combine every one of them to prepare our curriculum and also prepare every content that you guys are currently taking right now. So if the videos are too much, well, we are sorry about that, but it is also to help us. It is also to help us. You are going to find out that there are some videos that are just like, let's say 6 minutes or 10 minutes. And then there are some videos that are as long as, like, let's say 30 minutes or so. So they are mixed in terms of the complexity of the topics. If you see a video that is for like 30 minutes, that means that particular topic, I wanted everyone to get a sense of what we are trying to discuss. I tried as much as I can to break it down to the tiniest piece, so that you can understand it. That is why we take our time to talk about it, to discuss extensively on that particular topic. That is why you will see a video that is as long as, let's say, 19 minutes or 20 minutes or so. It is for the convenience of every student, because we understand that some people can just sit down with the content and get it at one time, whereas some people will need extra explanations. That's another reason why some videos are longer than each other. So if we try to modify the content or the size or the amount of videos we cover in a week, it is going to take lapses on the on the time frame, on our learning time frame. Data analytics is very, very comprehensive, depending on whoever is teaching you. We don't summarize here. We break things down in pieces. We don't summarize. We don't just assume that, don't worry, you can learn this on your own. No, we don't do that. We don't do that. So I'm sorry if the contents are too much. I'm going to discuss it with the general manager and also the program coordinator, and I will see whatever it is we can do about that, if we can bring it down a notch, because we still have SQL to cover. We still also have a Power BI to also cover. We still have Power BI to also cover. So I understand I understand you guys are working. I understand. I truly understand. I will see what I can do. I will see what we can do about that. We'll see what we can do about that. Because normally, as a data analyst, you rarely see where you can you rarely see a course, a data analytics package like this, where SQL is also included in the course. Basically, like I said, the only thing you need to start applying for roles is just advanced Microsoft Excel, like you guys are learning right now, and also the knowledge of Power BI, which is data visualization tool. But we are joining SQL to it for you. Normally, before, our beginners and intermediate class is just Microsoft Excel and Power BI. And then we make our advanced class to be just purely SQL. We take SQL for the same 3 months we take our data analytics class. But because we understand that some of you guys are currently in your service year, so we have to make sure we give you some of the things you need to start out after your service, after your NYC service. So that is another reason why it is like this. Samuel, you are raising your hand. Please kindly unmute yourself and you have the floor.
All right, thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
All right. I have a couple of questions. I mean, if you're done addressing the videos, but before I talk about my question, as regarding the video thing, I also have the challenge of trying to catch up with videos. I think this past week I wasn't able to finish everything, but one thing I try to do, just to share with other people, it might not really work for everyone, is that sometimes I watch at a faster speed, 1.5 times, so that I can finish each videos faster. I don't know if you get. So maybe some of us could try that. If that works, if you are able to follow at that speed, So yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Okay. You are talking
so
about
my question
you
is,
are talking about the play rate, the bit rate of your.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that should work.
Yes,
Anyone that
yes.
loves that idea can. But also, if you use that, that means you have to be very attentive. You have to be present while you are trying to learn, because you have to also be a very good fast learner for something like that to work for you. And also, a lot of people, some people uses that kind of speed too. They are bearing witness to it now. So just proceed to your question, please. Proceed to your question.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to discuss the question. Okay, so my first question is on logical functions. So I wanted to ask, when we are using those greater than or equals to sign, could we use multiple, just in math where they say maybe 9 greater than x less than 10? Yeah, I just wanted to ask because there was a question, I think case 5 pivot table, where we needed to categorize each age group, right? Categorize the ages in a particular age group, and you use the if statements to do that. So, but before you did that, like I attempted to do that myself, and what I did was that I said if the age or like referencing on the cell, calling on the cell is less greater than or equal to 19 and less than equal to what do you call it? And less than or equal to 31, because I think you said for youth was 19 to 31, and then did like that, but I didn't get the answer. So I know you did the right thing at the end of the day, but I wanted to ask, like, could you use multiple, like two, or just like maths, in a function?
Okay.
So that's my first question.
Okay. Okay. I want you to finish all your questions before I answer.
Okay. Was okay then. This my second question is for the pivot table case 6. Um, I think when you did, when we were trying to find out which customer was the most profitable between 2013 and 2016, I tried it as well on like the Excel sheets, and like we're getting different answers. So I noticed that 2012 was omitted from your sheet. Although like the question said 2013 to 2016, but I think your sheet showed 2011, then 13 to 16. Like it skipped 2012.
For
So
that
I couldn't
particular,
figure
for the
out how
particular,
you.
for the particular customer that we are looking for, right?
Yes.
The
Like
2012
it
was
did the
skipped for
top
that.
5 thing.
2012 was skipped for that customer, right?
Yes.
Okay, continue.
So I couldn't figure out how you filtered like 2012 out. And because even the question said 2013 to 2016. So of course we could have filtered like 2011 and 2012, then just leaving 2013 to 2016. But I couldn't figure out how you did that. But I think that's the second question.
Okay.
Then
Continue. I'm with you. Don't worry.
okay,
Continue.
yes. Then for my last question is on problem 8A. I think for what was that this thing? I think it was the if or statement. Yes. I'm trying to remember the question. Um I think from the question anyway, there was you used if and first, like to do the first logical test, and then used if or last. And I mean, from my understanding of and an or statement, like there has to be like two conditions. But then in the question, there were two different scenarios, but there were not two conditions. But I mean, I still get the concept of if and like where it works. But I just don't know why you use if and first and if or last. So like, how do I know? Okay, if I should use if and first before if or if or first before if and. So that's my last question.
Okay. Okay. That that is very detailed. Those are very
Sorry.
detailed. Okay. There's still
One more
more.
question.
Continue.
I think the last one. For problem 8B. So I think when we're doing the question, you used the question said, like, I think it was talking about meeting a particular value, I think revenue. Okay, yeah, you opened the question 8B. Yes. It says if a distributor meets the revenue and quantity targets, return their name. But if they only meet one of the requirements, return their industry, else return the word neither. Well, I think you used just equals to, right? Yeah, I think you used just equals to rather than greater than or equals to, like to meet, as in equals like to the definite what do you call it? Definite target value.
Okay.
Because I mean, like I felt if they are supposed to meet a particular target, is like they are meeting it and exceeding it, right?
Okay.
Yes. So, but you I think you use just equals to rather than greater than or equals to for that question for problem 8B. But then problem 8A, which kind of had like similar case, you used the greater than or equals to sign. So I got a bit confused there.
Okay. You are going to help me. I'm going to need your help, Sam, with every one of
All
these
right.
questions. You are going to remind me each and every one of them, and if I've answered each and every one of them. So I'm going to start from where you stopped. You are talking about this problem 8B here. Remember I said it is very, very important for you to understand the question before you move to solve the problem. Understand your client's request before you move to solve the problem. Now, you're talking about this particular question here, that if a distributor meets the revenue, this is the first condition here. If a distributor meets the revenue and quantity target, which are this is the revenue target of 1,000, the quantity target of 5. And if these distributors, if they meet these both targets, return their name. Also, remember one thing, that if you have a case like this, the first part of this question like this, you are talking about if and, because if and is absolute. Assuming this and here is something like if a distributor meets the revenue or the quantity target, then your if or is going to lead your if statement. I don't know if you understand what I mean. If this question says, if a distributor meets the revenue or quantity target, return their name, then if or is going to lead your statement. But the question was very, very clear, that if a distributor meets these two revenues, and remember that I mentioned that if and does not compromise. If and is going to return your value if true. If it finds out that every condition you're trying to test for is absolutely right, then if and is going to return your value if true. But if and finds out that one of those conditions are not met, then if and is going to return your value if false. But if you nest it with if or, then if or is going to take over after if and has performed its own test. So that is the reason why if and always comes first whenever you are trying to nest the two functions together. This question is very, very technical. At the same time, it is very straightforward. So that is why we have that if a distributor meets the revenue, so if I open the formula for you now, if a distributor meets the revenue and quantity target, which means if we are starting with if and, if E28, this E28 here, if this distributor, if this distributor, John's revenue is 1,000, that is why I have to call on E28, is greater than or equals to, because the question said meets the revenue. And which means you have to start counting the revenue from that 1,000. That is the essence of our equals to here. Rather than just leaving it at greater than. If we are using only greater than, that means the question says, oh, sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Give me one moment. I think I am using the wrong account. Okay, no, I'm not using the wrong account. Okay, sorry. We'll continue. Let me reshare my screen. Why is this thing telling me that I have 10 minutes? Let me just maximize my time. So, moving on, sorry. In case okay. So in case, if you see me putting this equals to here, it means I am trying to count from 1,000, not from 1,001. Not from 1,001. And whenever whenever if or is done, whenever if and is done with the test, whenever if and is done with the test here, that is when if or will start its own test. That is when if or will start its own test. And you can see here that if a distributor meets the quantity and the revenue target, return their name. That's why we have John, Bode, and Egungun here. They meet both revenue and quantity target. If they only meet one of the requirements, return their industry. That's why we have leisure here as industry. And then if they didn't meet both conditions, then return the word neither. And then that is why we have neither here. Do you understand this, Sam? Do you now understand what we try to do there?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay, so please, your second question, please remind me of your second question.
Could you do question 8A for this same thing?
Okay. No, we can't do question 8A for that same thing, because if you look at the question, if the distributor sells online, return their industry. That is your first if and. This is just this is not like a triple condition like problem 8B. Now, otherwise, if the distributor sells less than $500 of product, return their name. Return their name. And if you look at it, if and B9, if B9, that is, if this distributor here, if this distributor sells online, that is why I said online equals online, then return their name, that is, return their industry, that is, return their D9. That is what we have here. But otherwise, if this distributor does not sell online, then they should at least sell less than 500, or if they sell less than 500 of products, then return their name. That is why we have less than 500 here. And if they did not meet any one of these two conditions, return neither. That is why we have neither here. This person sells, this person did not sell online. Neither did he or she sells less than 500. So that's why we have neither here. Do you understand?
No, not really. So my question for this 8A is that you said, okay, from the formula, right? It says if and, like it starts with if and.
Yeah. You
And
know what?
then-
Let's do it together again. Let me delete it and let's do it together again. Now, according to the question says if the distributor sells online, so we are going to start with our if and. You know, if you are nesting if and if or together, if you know that you're going, this is what you need to use. Yeah, your if and will always lead. So if and, the first logical test is if the distributor sells online. So I'm going to start my test with the sales channel. If the distributor sells online and my sales channel is on B9, so I'm going to say B9. If my distributor sells online, return their industry. If B9 equals online, remember to open and close your quotation mark. If the distributor sells online, comma, if the distributor sells online, which is my first logical test, my value if true now is return their industry. My value if true should be D9. D9. Now, the question continues. Otherwise, if the distributor sells less than $500 of product, then my if or comes in. If the distributor sells less than $500 of product, which is my revenue here, if my revenue E9 is less than 500, I'm done with that test too. My value if true, return their name. My value if true should be their name here, C9. But if every one of these tests here, if every one of these statements is not true, is found out not to be true, then I can decide to leave it empty, or I can decide to just leave it as neither or nil or anything you want, anything whatsoever. So let me leave mine as neither, or let me leave it at nil. Let me just say nil. and then close my bracket and hit enter. Oh, sorry. I'm supposed to close my bracket twice. That's why Excel is warning me. So you can see now, if these distributors here, if they did not, any one of them that sells online, return their industry. That is why I am having industry here as commodities and leisure. These two guys, they sold online. Then the question goes further. If they did not sell online, but they sold less than $500 of product. That is, if their revenue is less than 500, return their name. That is why I am having only Joke here. Joke sold less than $500 of product. That's why I'm having Joke here. But if any one of these conditions is not met at all, return nil. You can look at this one. This person did not sell online, it sold on retail, and also sold over 500. That is why I'm having nil. This person did not sell online. This person did not sell online. This person sold direct. At the same time, did not sell less than $500 of product. That's why I have nil here. Do you understand it now, Sam? Is that understood now?
Yes. So just to reiterate what you said, so that we're on the same page. So if I'm going to be nesting, like if and if or statements, if and is to lead first.
Yes, your if and leads. Because if and does not permit you to say, okay, if I did not perform well in this particular course and I performed well in this particular course, I still get promoted. If and does not compromise. If and says you have to pass all the courses for you to promote. But if or will give you a benefit of a doubt that, okay, you did well in this place, you didn't do well in this place, but at least you made the cutoff mark. Let's go. So that is the best relatable scenario for it. Is that understood now?
Yes, very much. Thank you.
All right. So if in case this class will be, I don't know why this thing is counting down, but in case it counts down in the next 1 minute, I'm going to drop a new link on the group immediately, so you guys can join again. So can you remind me of your second question, please? Your second question.
That was the K6 pivot table.
Okay, K6
the one
pivot
for,
table.
yes.
This one here.
Which
Which customer was the most? Can you see my screen?
most profitable? Yes, I can.
Which customer was the most profitable from the year 2013 to 2016?
13 to 2016.
And you said
yes.
you can't find 2012 yet.
Yeah.
If you cannot find 2012, that means
I noticed you filtered.
okay.
I noticed you filtered the dates, so I wanted to understand how you did that.
Okay. Okay, so originally, let me remove my year away from this. So normally, this is how it is right now. This is their record from 2013 to 2016, the whole year. But I needed the year to also show. I need the year to also show. Right? So that is why I am going to come here and bring my year and drop it under rows also, under my customers. And not only that I am going to bring it, I am also going to come to this place here under my pivot table field, and I'll filter out, because the question asked me to focus on 2013 to 2016.